Yep. I'm not. Cat TV sitting in the waiting room.
Wait,
Don't put it on me. You have to open it.
I'd wait till.
I'm opening it.
Wait,
They don't need to see my face.
wait right till 7.
I'm gonna
Oh, no,
start.
don't let them in. Right. Wait till it's 7 and then let them in.
Okay.
1 minute. And Megan's been recording the meetings and putting them on our YouTube channel. So that's a good thing to put on an agenda at an upcoming meeting. A little saving of money.
Yeah.
In-house. Are there a lot of people in the waiting room at Megan?
No, there's 4 people, including Cat TV.
Okay. All right. Okay, so people are in.
We'll try to give you a raise. So you won't sweat so much.
All right, so I see one person still connecting, so we'll give that a second. So that way we can make sure they're muted. And Megan, just when that person connects, just make sure they're muted. I'm going to get going. So this is Rebecca Dragon, liaison to the Pownal Select Board, and it is my duty this evening to open the meeting at 7 o'clock. And we're going to start with board reorganization. I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint someone to chair of the board.
I'll make a motion to keep Angie as the chair.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
You'll second that, Ronnie? And is there any discussion on that? So everyone's here present in the room, so all in favor say aye.
We have to do
have to do it. Did we do what?
We had said something before about making sure that we knew who was going to be appointed before we vote. Previous board had talked about it, just to make sure that it wasn't whoever spoke up first.
Are there any other nominations for appointment to chair?
3 times.
Okay, any other nominations for appointment to chair? Hearing none, All those in favor of maintaining Angie as chair, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Great. Angie, take it away. It's all you now.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome to tonight's select board meeting, April 8th, 2021. Okay, so now I need to entertain a motion for vice chair.
I'll go ahead and make the motion. I want a motion for Mike. I think Angie and Mike have been a great team, and I'd like to see it stay together.
Second that.
That's Jamie's second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any other motion for vice chair? Any other nomination for vice chair? Hearing none. All in favor of Mike, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Mike. Welcome back. Okay, now we need a motion for secretary,
Clerk.
clerk. Can I entertain a motion?
Well, can we, Jamie, do you still want it or no?
Will you take it? I nominate Janet Percy for the.
The one nobody wants. I'll second that.
Okay, any
Well,
other nomination for clerk?
I think clerk has, there's important things for the clerk, really. I mean, you know, we make fun of it, but if the vice chair or chair aren't available, the clerk runs a meeting if the other two members, and you guys can act as a board
Right,
with the quorum. So it's not just a position that has no
Oh, that's,
merit.
no,
and that's very
no,
true. And it does come into play often when we're, if we don't have a scribe, we need somebody to take the
Writing
notes
up the
as
notes
well.
after an executive.
Exactly. So, you know, I don't want, I mean, I know we know what it is. I just don't want the general public to think that we're just appointing somebody because we have to. It is an important position.
absolutely.
That's a good point.
So any other nomination for clerk? Any other nomination for clerk? All in favor of Jamie taking the position, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and well, there's one more. What's the other one? Isn't there three?
Nope, that's
No, I
it.
think
Or
that's it.
four? Okay.
Chair, vice chair, and.
All right. So we need to approve the agenda, approve the minutes of March 18th, board liaison report, bike event, green up day, 4 warrants, 5 excess weight permit, 6 work agreements for hired and elected officials, 7 Christmas tree lights, 8 law ordinance for trucks and tractors, etc., 9 board appointment interviews, 10 building permit changes, and under that is A, updating zoning permit application, B, add Megan Elber, our administrative assistant, to permit processing. And we also need to add that we need to set up 2 dates for the zoning bylaws to be approved and set. 11, gravel crushing, 12, board and bridge update, 13, executive session for personnel, 14, public comment, 15, adjourn.
Switch those.
We're gonna switch those for,
You should put the executive after the public.
after public comment, correct. So we're gonna put executive session last and public comment before that. Now would be the time that we set our rules, and I think that we should set our rules at what we had for this past year, where everybody speaks for 3 minutes. We did discuss that it's not on this agenda, but after, if it's something very important and that we're discussing and we want to know the public's comments, we will open up to public comment. Is that correct, Mike? Isn't that what we discussed?
That's correct.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that? Does anybody want to add anything?
I want to add to our policy so that we don't have to say this every meeting. As long as we're in a Zoom session, that if someone unmutes themselves when we're in public comment or at any time, we will give 1 warning. And then after that, then they will be removed from the meeting or placed in the waiting room. So that people have respect for each other and for the board. I also think that all comments, I think we have to do this anyway. All comments, public comments get directed directly to the chair or vice chair or whoever's running the meeting on that particular night.
Can I make a suggestion for an addition?
Sure,
Um,
absolutely.
I'd like to make a suggestion, and this is obvious, this is Zoom specific. I'd like to add to your rules that the chat box of a Zoom meeting is not a public record, and nor is it a place where people should be having side conversations during a meeting, and that if that, it should really only be used like, oh my gosh, you guys are, some sort of terrible technical flaw or something like that, or my hand won't raise, can you call on me? That kind of thing. And that Megan should be able to turn off that chat room if it's being abused.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'd like to say that,
Oh, I'm sorry.
on this other thing, when you're talking about the meetings and that we have an agenda, I'd appreciate it. And I think the rest of the board would also, that if you want to speak, everybody, you can get the agendas at the stores, they're posted on the website, whatever, all over the place. Kind of stick to that. It'll move the meetings along. I mean, I'm not against somebody if they got a real complaint to come in and vent or get on Zoom and vent that problem. But I don't want to turn it into, nobody knows what the meeting is about. We have an agenda.
Right, and if somebody wants to come to the board and discuss something, they need to contact Tim, Mike, or I to get put on the agenda for something specific. Okay?
Yeah,
Anybody have-
that's always been the policy,
Right.
yes.
Does anybody else have anything else to add? You all set, Ronnie?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay, thank you. So can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
We have to prove our policy, right?
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. We need a motion to approve our policy with those changes, please.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, I.
We have to establish our paper of record.
Yes, so that is the Bennington banner.
It is, you can keep it as that, or you could
I heard a comment today.
shopper.
I heard a comment today, because not a lot of people get the banner.
That's true.
With that news guide or shopping marketplace or whatever it is, goes out every Saturday. Pretty much everybody gets that
Right, because it's a free paper.
because it's a free paper.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there as an option, because I do believe that more and more people do not buy the Bennington banner anymore. I mean, I'm one of them. I haven't bought a banner in years. So I just want to throw that out there as an option, and if we need a motion, I'll make a motion. That we switch our paper of record to the shopping guide that comes out on Fridays and Saturdays.
Do
Okay,
we know the name of that?
it's owned by the Bennington banner, I do believe.
I don't know the name of it right off the top of my head, Bob, but I think it's the Marketplace, Shoppers Marketplace, I
I can
think.
ask Julie really quickly, because she uses it to warn things sometimes. Hold on. Keep trying, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna text her really quickly. What is,
Okay, well, we can't move forward until we do our paper of record.
right,
I apologize, I didn't have the name of that right off the top of my head.
I think it's called the shopping guide.
The shopping guide, yeah, I actually have it home sitting
Yeah.
on my table.
Yeah, so do I. Actually, there's one in my truck in the back seat if you want to run out and I'll give you the key.
I mean, even if you have the name wrong, we know which one you're talking about. So
Okay.
If you make the motion, say, or whatever it's called,
Okay,
right?
I don't mean to be the fly in the ointment, but is there a cost difference between
It's cheaper.
posting in one? That
cheaper.
it is cheaper. Okay, that's good too. I like that.
Cheaper is better.
Cheaper is
Not
better.
always.
From what I
Higher
remember,
circulation.
that's what Julie had told me. was
Well,
that
just-
it's cheaper.
And it's
I-
higher circulation.
I think
to
the
your point,
circulation is the big thing. To me, Bob, the higher circulation is the big thing than the banner. I mean, I noticed that, the banner doesn't even print on Mondays anymore. It's a Saturday paper, no printing on Monday.
right,
I
Mhm.
mean, I know the other one only comes out once a week, but hey, Price Chopper and Hannaford and
all of them are in there.
Aldi's and all those places are in that.
Yep.
Paper.
All right, so we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second? All right, Any further discussion? To go with the marketplace
Shopping guide.
shopping guide, marketplace shopping guide, whatever the name of the paper is. Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, I. Okay. All right, so moving on to approval of agenda. May I please entertain a motion for the agenda with the changes?
A motion that we approve the agenda with the given changes, the resequencing of executive session and public comment.
And
Second.
adding on the 2 dates for the zoning bylaws.
And
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, I. Approval of minutes of March 18th, 2021. I read them. I don't see anything wrong with them. Can I entertain a motion, please?
So moved.
Any discussion? Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, I. Board liaison report. Rebecca?
So what does it say for me? Okay,
The,
the Tour de Pownal bike race, thank you, is, we dealt with it, last year as well. They do it every single year. There is no more than, there's no more than 20 riders. They follow all COVID guidelines. It's ongoing. Julie McAmin, I believe, I hope I'm saying her last name right, reached out to me and asked if the Parks and Rec Committee might be willing to just do a little coordinated PR with her on the event. I told her I would ask the board. I didn't see a problem with it. It's just a matter of probably making a flyer and putting it on our town website. We're not, so I said I would come and ask the board for your blessing on that. And then I would turn it over to Parks and Rec to get involved with that if and how they want. Does that?
Do they get their own safety person?
Yeah, they organize everything. They've done it every single year. She's not asking for anything from us really, except for just to kind of,
our blessing.
yeah,
do they
to
have-
partner with them and Parks and Rec to partner with them and get the word out, put up the.
Do they have, a website that they advertise that on? A Facebook page
No,
or
it's a,
anything else?
I don't think so. It's a tiny little event. It's called the Tour de Pownal. They advertise it. Usually I've seen on, Front Porch Forum, you'll see the advertisements for it. It's a tiny event. Literally, she says they don't even allow more than 20 riders to register.
No, the only reason I was saying it is because the one place on our website, according to our web policy, that we allow links to external is the community event.
Ah,
And that would be the right place to put it.
okay.
Right.
Well, and also I could put it on the Facebook group as well, just if you guys get, that's why I was asking for permission to
Okay.
partner with them.
I have no problem with that. I don't think we need a motion, do we?
Just,
No.
yeah, okay,
We're good.
I could just do it. All right, I'll talk to Julie and we'll get that going. And then I don't know why Green Up Day is there because I don't have anything to do with Green Up Day.
Usually Tom does that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can reach out to him and see if he wanted to make some announcements about it or talk about it, but I don't
I've
really.
had a few people ask about bags, and I spoke to Julie, and she did tell me to send them to Tom Shuey at the transfer station.
Mhm.
So if anybody has any questions about the bags, I would contact Tom at the transfer station.
And anyone can always write to info@townofpownal.org because we'll make sure their questions get answered.
Go ahead, Mike.
I believe the Green Up Day is on schedule this year for May 1st.
Yes.
I've seen some advertisement, other towns have had some propaganda for May 1st, as Green Up Day.
Okay.
Maybe just some added commentary, maybe just my own thoughts on it is that I think Pownell's always done a really good job with that. I mean, Megan Randall doing those rocks, or Megan Randall doing the rocks and making it fun for the children. That it's always a really, really nice event. I'm glad we're continuing to do that.
Okay, and I, for one, am gonna be out there on Green Up Day. I would like to see everybody out there that can, especially on Route 7. It's gonna be very dangerous, but
Would
Yes.
you like me to reach out to Tom and see if he needs any help from me, just getting a flyer made or getting
Yeah,
that
so
out and
getting
then just
it on
helping
our
with that?
webpage.
Okay, not a problem.
Thank you very much.
Yep, I can do that next week.
Okay.
Get that
Moving
in front
on
of
to
us.
warrants. Accounts payable ending 4/2/21 for $139,040.91. You put my cheaters on, I can't see what the heck I'm looking at. 106,000 was deposit at the town hall. $26,178.56 was a sewer bond payment. And IRS for $3,023.43. So that was for $139,000, $139,040.91. Accounts payable ending 4/9 for $7,605.36. Green Mountain Power for $2,198.20. The Hoosick River Hydro for $1,961.15. And IRS payment for $2,972 for $7,605.36. Payroll ending 4/2/21 for $8,960.89. Payroll ending for 4/9/21 for $9,428.62. Can I entertain a motion to accept the warrants, please?
We'll make a motion, we accept the warrant.
I'll second.
Any discussion from anybody? Hearing none. Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, I. Excess weight permit.
We've had 3 more come through.
Wait,
from-
hold
Wait,
on,
wait, wait,
hold on,
one
Todd.
second.
No one will hear you. There you go.
Thank you. We've had 3 more come through, just stragglers, since the last time you approved them. There's 3 of them. And they're the 3 that are highlighted at the bottom. Joel is
Oh, you want me
approved
to-
them all.
Go ahead, Mike, you can do it.
Joel already approved them, right? Or-
Want me to read them?
No, sorry, I got it. Casella, Robert Green, and Main Brothers Oil. Is that okay with everybody? Can I entertain a motion?
Motion to sign them.
Second.
Any further discussion? Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, I. Okay, work agreement for hired and elected officials.
That's us again.
Yep.
So you want to start on that, Tim?
Sure. So we had something come up this week in regards to the listers. And one of them who's been working more hours than had been previously anticipated and was putting them over the limit for VEMRs. And when we started to dig into it, we realized that we don't have work agreements for the listers or pretty much any other appointed or elected positions. And so we'd like to start implementing those and pulling together the information we need so that we have set hours and set pay rates for all of those positions.
And just to go a little deeper on what the lister issue is that there is one lister that has been doing the bulk of the work. However, what we have, if you look at what we have budgeted for the year for 3 listers, it ends up being about 11,000 per lister per year, which allows them at their rate of pay to work about 760 hours approximately per year, which does not qualify them for VEMRs. However, with one of the listers doing the bulk of the work, there could, if the board so wished, they could say, okay, for you in your position, because that's what you're doing, we're willing to sign you up for VEMRs for the year or for 6 months, or this is your choice. But what happens is the minute you put one on VEMRs in that role, you now have to make available to all, which means that for all 3 listers, you'd be allowing them to work well over their $11,000 a year, and you'd be giving retirement monies. So the work agreement, what the work agreement would do is the board would be setting boundaries on how much they want each role doing, what they're paid, And like, you can say, you're not allowed to work more than these 769 hours a year if that's your will, or you can change that. But it would be really good to have it all written down, so it's not like, oh, rules for thee and not for me, and we don't know who's getting what and when, and just, so we've been talking to the VLCT about it, and there are ways that they can work with us and help us set up some of these kind of procedures in the office. Proper language and all of that, yeah. So that's that.
Okay, because I know at one time there was a problem with a lister where she had done too much and didn't get paid, and there was a problem, and I don't want to see that happen again.
Well, you guys
She
need to
got
just,
paid, she just they chiseled her out of the Beamers.
Right,
She
and,
had proof that she had worked these hours,
right,
and that's state law. You work
Right.
24
well,
hours
but
a-
you guys can determine, you guys can say that role is not allowed to work more than these hours. It's your choice. It's your choice.
I personally think it's a very good idea. I think
Absolutely.
we have to, just as Rebecca said, it's got to be the level set rules for everyone. We have to be able to budget. We have to know how much the limit is. And the fact is, we do pay, I think it's NEMRIC for assessing services anyway. So we do some of that also. So if we keep everybody, if we keep it under the maximum, whatever we decide the maximum is, any overage can go to NEMRIC. And get the professional, or I think that's true, maybe I'm wrong.
The professional assessor.
The professional assessor,
That's
that's
right,
correct.
which comes in anyways periodically.
That's correct.
Mike, did you have something to add?
I do. I think this work agreement, I think we need to draft this work agreement for every
Mhm.
hired or elected or appointed official.
I agree.
Okay, whether it's planning commission, DRB, whatever, doesn't matter. I think we need to have a work agreement. And I think in our work agreement, I think, just my opinion, but I think there's some things that need to be in this work agreement. One of the things that needs to be, in my opinion, that needs to be in a work agreement when you're working for the town. And once you accept the position in the town, whether it's DRB, planning commission, it doesn't really matter. I think you need to be held to a higher standard. And I think we need to put some sort of a social media thing somewhere where.
Most places have that in a business as it is.
Right, and
You can't
we,
be
I
on
think,
Facebook, you can't say.
well, I mean, you can be on
Be
Facebook,
on
but
it,
you
but you
can't
can't-
tear somebody to pieces.
Right, and put,
And I just think it needs to stop. And I
Yes.
think we need to stop it here at this level. And if you don't like somebody, so be it. Get over it. Move on. It doesn't, and I think we need to do that. And I think we can do it in that work agreement.
and everybody should have to sign it.
And everybody has to sign that if
Yes.
you're going to be
Right,
a hired, appointed, or elected official in the town.
and that includes the select board.
That includes the select board.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I have no problem with that. I think we all should be held to a higher standard.
Absolutely.
I agree. Is that the same agreement? Well, the only thing I asking is that the same agreement, because we now have two purposes here, right? And I agree with you totally, and maybe I can't even vote on that, because that would be one of the primary benefactors. But
It's true.
but I think we have two different goals here. So I think we need to prioritize first the pay and that structure, and do the those that aren't stipend. And that agreement, and then separate from that, I don't know if it's in the same agreement.
It could be a
can in the
policy
same
He had-
agreement.
attached to that
he had an idea, actually, if you wanted about stipend instead of hourly.
Making the listers a stipend. And that's something that I'll bring back to the board when I'm prepared to do so, but it'd be very easy.
What, Rebecca, give him
Yeah, sorry.
please, sorry.
Sorry.
I just want, because I think this is very important.
To have stipends paid monthly, and then there's no discussion about the pay portion of it. It's taken care of. And we don't have to have people putting in timesheets asking to be paid. They would be paid on a regular basis. And that would be for anyone who's stipend, whether it's, once a year, the select board gets their stipend, and then those who are doing something monthly, like listers or internal auditors, however that ends up working, would just get paid monthly.
Right, and you also want it where like the select board is a stipend a specific time a year.
Yes,
So
yes.
he doesn't know if somebody's been paid or hasn't been paid,
Well,
if they've
that's
received their
quarterly.
stipend or not.
Yeah, whatever the schedule is, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just, it's set.
Regular,
It's
It's set
not
and it's
waiting for them
regular.
to turn in a piece of paper.
Right.
So I think we need to flush out all the details of that, because the one thing you don't want to have happen is somebody get elected to any position that used to be hourly, that is now stipend, and just not do anything and collect their stipend. That is a possibility. So we need language to shore that up and all that stuff. So, and I think working with the VLCT and coming up with a
And we
model.
can time it so you're paid after the fact. So that if one's been here for a month, you question it.
Yep. That makes sense, but I just wonder how that works with the elected
It'll,
officials.
it'll
to make their
require a
own
lot of
hours.
fleshing out.
Yep.
So I think the best thing, in my opinion, I think the best thing is to, let Tim work on this and bring it to us at our next regular meeting. The work agreements, and then we can, look at that and move forward with it. But I think, and maybe we are on two different things, Bob. Maybe we have a work agreement for, and it's a little bit different from personnel policy, right? We have a work agreement for paying benefits, and then we have a work agreement for, your,
Sort of a conduct.
exactly, conduct policy, or I don't want to call it a policy, though. I want to have an
We have a
agreement.
policy, but we would
Yeah.
like to start setting a schedule of going through policies, and the first one we'd like to review is the personnel. So Tim and I were gonna set a schedule for you guys, and once, like, as you've suggested many times, and bring
Yeah.
up, you guys
I
are,
was thinking that we should get 4 policies every 2 weeks that we can all get ahead of time before each meeting. We can look at them, read them over, and then at the meeting, you can decide to keep it as is, adopt
that's a
it.
lot of policies.
It might be two. It might be,
Four.
rather than four, maybe two.
Yeah.
or
Four could be a lot.
Some number.
Four could be,
Depends on the
if,
policy.
2.
and
All right.
if you're gonna actually go through the policy and read it and try to
Talk to
vet it
people
and
and-
talk to people and research it a little bit, 4 is gonna be a lot to do every 2 weeks.
Okay.
My opinion.
But the idea of coming up with a number and periodically reviewing them.
Oh, I like
is
the
right
idea. I
shape.
just think 4 is, I don't agree with 4.
All right, so maybe we'll start off with 2.
And I think that's probably a good.
All right,
place
and
to
every
start.
policy needs to be, Jamie, you crack me up. Every policy needs to have a letter or a number. Like policy A, whatever, policy B, whatever.
We'll
I-
create a schedule, we'll bring that to the next meeting. Is
Okay.
is that good?
We need
Okay.
to move
While
forward
we're
on
talking
this.
about that, while we're talking about policies,
Hmm.
because we've opened that door. I think that every policy that comes before this board in the next year, once we approve that policy, we don't have to sign every page,
Right,
but we
That's
initial
what we just said.
every page.
yes, and I want it where it's dated that we adopted it, that we changed it, just like you do at a school board
Well,
policy.
And then we're gonna
Don't get
create
started with the school
electronic
board.
copies. of
Adopted it.
Well, this leads into the next one
You
little
know what I
update.
mean.
One little update is that we did create, we're working with it now. Tim and Megan, and I'm helping as well, putting my stuff up in there, but we created a database for all electronic documents, and we've been putting them there. And it's a place that all of you will have access to them, so you'll be able to access our documents as well. And so when what's that?
Shared drive?
A shared drive. And so when we, like, for instance, that latest policy, when we amended it, I had you guys initial every single page.
Yeah.
And then we turn that into an electronic document, and that will be uploaded into that shared drive that anyone can, there's going to be no question. It's not, you don't depend on the policies, anything in books or paper, because those are highly manipulatable.
Well, I just want to make sure that we bring that up, and I want to make sure that that we publicly state that we are going to initial every page of the policies that we review.
Absolutely,
And I think we need to review every policy.
absolutely,
I think
agreed.
that's, entirely necessary.
The other thing, as far as,
Wait a minute, Jamie.
No one hears you when you
Yeah.
listen to it.
the reason why I feel it should either be a monthly or a quarterly on this pay scale is that for if someone decides they want to resign, they're not pulling the full stipend that was budgeted, and then somebody else comes along, gets appointed or to finish out that set thing and
And get a full
expect
stipend.
the full stipend
Yes.
also.
and that's happened numerous times.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with somebody getting a full stipend if there's a sickness or hospitalization or even a death under different circumstances, but otherwise, I think it should be a monthly. I agree 100% with that. Okay, anything
I got
else?
one thing to say
Sure.
on that policy stuff.
Absolutely.
And that is, do we have to have a new policy? It seems like we've got a new policy every time we come here. If we ain't smart enough to make out a policy that's at least good for a year, we shouldn't be here. That's all I got to say.
No, we
I
just
mean,
need to,
just going through policy after policy after policy. And the first thing that I would do before I wrote a policy up, I would talk to the people, well, the listers, for example. You only got two.
There's three.
we have
There's
three.
three. All right, we'll talk to them. How many hours you want to work? The reason that got scuffled before, it was always somebody that was like a lead lister. Somebody that spent a lot more time than the others. And some people are perfectly happy. We got a guy over at the transfer station. Well, he refused to work 24 hours. He didn't want to be on that Beamer thing.
Right.
That's the first thing we ought to do is find that out and tell the people why we're doing this. We're doing this because we want to establish a medium where we got the help we need, but we don't want to pay retirement insurance and everything else to one, and then all the rest of them say, well, we got to have it. We got to explain that. And we don't need a new policy,
I don't think that's.
Once a
really
year is enough.
policy.
Huh?
Yeah, the listers, we're not talking about making a policy for the listers.
No,
Well, you're making a policy for their time. That's a policy.
Oh, no,
What do you
work
call that?
agreements.
a work agreement is
Work
different.
agreement.
Take time to flesh out and to really settle down, and it's more just so that, like you say, Ronnie, that they know what's expected of them.
That's right.
Because a lot of times, they don't know they should or shouldn't work hours, so
Well, right, I think it
it's
protects,
helpful in both directions.
right, it protects the employee and it protects the town. It protects everybody involved instead of just wondering what you're supposed to be doing. You actually know, you actually get 18 hours a week or whatever it is. This is what you work. This is what you get paid. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I think there's been too much indecision for a long time. You know,
Yeah, I think, there's valid points here, and what we experienced last year or the year before last was every night. It was 3 hours of nothing but talking policy, and it was policy after policy, and a lot of it was convoluted.
right.
So I think we need to be much more streamlined. We need to take a look at the policies that we do have, and some of these might be eliminating policies. It might be, do we really need this, or
Right.
is this part of another policy? And a clause in one policy might eliminate a completely different policy that exists. So those are the kinds of things I think we need to look at. We need to make them easy to understand, easy to distribute, easy to enforce, and just make sense
Clear.
and clear.
Absolutely. And every policy needs to be revised or looked at yearly, at least as far as I'm
Some of these
concerned.
jobs, like DRV, planning, things like that, some of these people got a life. They got some plans. They, I mean, they're older people and this and that. They may go for 6 weeks or whatever on a vacation, but they ain't costing the town nothing. So what do? Get penalized or they get thrown off the board? What's the story? See, that's why you got to talk to these. As long as you got a quorum, as far as I'm concerned, I've been on the planning board before. As long as there's a quorum, that's all it is. It don't have to be, a full complement. Somebody, they might be sick. They may be on vacation, going hunting or something. I don't care what they're doing. But that should be understood amongst the people. If you've got a plan, let us know ahead of time. That's only common courtesy. That's all that is. If you're going to take a bunch of time off, say, well, look, I ain't going to be around.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's all I got to say on that.
any further discussion on work agreements? Okay, let's move along to Christmas tree lights.
That's
Yeah.
me.
There you go.
So, as you know, the Pownal Historical Society put up some Christmas tree lights, and I'm finding this to be common with things that we're doing. A lot of enthusiasm to put things in and not much to take them down. And so they need to come down. The person who put them up is unwilling to take them down. So did reach out to Joyce and I asked her if there was money left over in the budget that of the donation she received for those lights to pay someone to take them down. And she indicated that there was, but she asked me to find a volunteer. I do not know volunteers that have bucket loaders. That's not something, I think we've already tapped out our volunteers. If any of you have an idea, that's great. But personally, I think that we need to ask for money from the donations, have those things brought down. And then ongoing, my idea on this is that those can be taken down, separated into smaller strands, and they can be used for low-lying bushes that are I can take them down. Anyone can do it. You don't need special machinery. And if we want to light up that big tree next year, we will use some of the fundraised money and we'll buy those projectors that just project the lights into the trees. There's no installation, there's no whatever. You just turn the switch and it's a beautifully lit tree.
Or
So,
we plant a smaller tree that we can manage.
or you plant a smaller tree that we can manage, or a variety of those things.
Them projector lights, that's a perfect idea.
Yeah, and it's
Set
cheap.
that there down, there it is.
Mike, do you have something to add?
No, I'm good with that. I think the projector lights, I think a smaller tree might be fine, but I do like the concept of the big tree being lit.
I do too. It's
So-
beautiful, but it's.
so
a
I
handful.
believe that-
Three projectors, they cost $100 each. They get plugged in, you turn them on,
I
and
know.
it's from all different, it actually looked probably better than it did.
They do look pretty cool. I
Yeah.
saw them at our campsite last year
I-
and it was actually pretty cool.
Right, and it's, this was an awesome idea that they came up with.
And it
I
was
don't
great.
wanna,
It was great. It
It
was beautiful.
it was unbelievable. But, now there's an expense and, we need to get away from that.
Yes.
Okay,
I got another comment on the parks and recreation thing, I guess. Like the ice skating rink, that was fine, I guess. I guess it got pretty good participation and everything else, but what I got a question is, who's got the keys to the carriage house?
why? It's not at the carriage house.
What is it?
It's at the town shed.
I know where it is. I guess, who's got the keys to the carriage house? That's where it should be. Why should it be down the town shed? Where we got trucks going in and out there with salt and sand and everything else, and we need that space, that wide open space. I was asked this by a couple of people who work with the town. And they
Right.
said, the building's right there.
Yeah.
What's in it? And who's got a key?
Well, that would be the church people,
But it belongs to the town.
right?
They have their tags.
I don't know. I don't know what they
But
have.
I
and
mean,
don't
if you
know
got a
what they
few planks, I think you could set them in there. That's just a suggestion. I mean, you do what you want. We can truck them all over town if we want. And look for them. If they get run over by a loader down there and get broken or something. or
Well,
get-
they're over at the town shed now, so we'll leave them there and we'll discuss it with the church and hopefully next year we can
Yeah, that's
put
fine.
it in the carriage barn.
it'd be easier for everyone else to put them in the carriage barn.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Okay. Moving along to law and ordinance for truck and tractors, etc. Mike,
Yep, this is me. I put it on. So we had an email a few weeks ago sent to the board. We all saw it from a resident on Church Street. And I've been against something like this for our town for a while because I don't want to put a hindrance on our local contractors, dump truck drivers and so on and so forth. And I've talked to a bunch of guys that have those types of trucks that actually live here and actually pay taxes. And those are the guys that concern me. But the garbage that's up and down Route 7
I
and
think-
up and down Route 346
yes,
is absolutely disgusting.
I agree.
And a bunch of people have reached out to me and they're absolutely correct. Tonight, I went down to Stewart's at 4:00. I came back up. There is hundreds of cans that came out of somebody's truck headed north because they're on the right hand, they're on the northbound lane on the shoulder. Hundreds of cans that came out of somebody's uncovered truck and litter the side of Route 7. I, for one, and I'm speaking strictly as myself, I have sat down in the firehouse parking lot. Okay. I have sat there between the hours, not the same day, but I take my lunch and I've sat there from the hours of 11 to 1:30. And I can't tell you the number of trucks and trailers that go into the transfer, or it's a transfer station, I'm sorry, that go into there uncovered. And I don't care what they say, I've sat there. I've watched it. Okay? I think we need to draw an ordinance up, and I think we need to get our sheriffs on it. And when people are coming through this town, when they get to Williamstown, they have to be covered. When they leave Bennington, they have to be covered. They can't leave Bennington, drive through there without being covered, and they can't go into Mass without being covered. So why shouldn't they be covered in the town of Pownell when they go through here?
I agree 100%.
And all of the guys, and I know 90% of the local contractors who drive their dump trucks and trailers and who do rubbish removal, they need to be covered too. And they're on board with us because it disgusts them how it looks in our town. And we need to draw up an ordinance, and it needs to be very strict. And it has to have some pretty serious fines to it. It's disgusting to live here right now. I don't want to be stereotypical and say what it looks like, but when you head south, I can tell you what it looks like, not too far from here.
And I also spoke to Joel about putting up signs that say that if you get caught littering, there's fines. And he says the signs cost about $35. And I think we should put the signs back up like we used to have when we were kids, Mike. If you were caught littering, you were charged. I think out of sight is out of mind. People don't see it, so they don't think. It amazes me that you're driving down the road and somebody in front of you just opens up the window and chucks a bag from McDonald's or whatever kind of bag out the window. It's unacceptable. I think that we need to put up signs just to remind people that if you get caught littering, you're going to be charged. I mean, I know you have to catch them, you have to have a license plate and all that, but I also agree with the policy 100%. People have been complaining to me about the littering for over a year, just like they have with you, Mike. So we need to get on this as soon as possible.
It's not just Route 7, it's Route
No.
346. Go down 346.
I know.
It's on Center Street. You walk down Center Street. I cannot believe the garbage on both sides of the street. Beer bottles, cigarette packs.
It's going to our own landfill or our transfer station. It's going to Maple Grove Road. If somebody's going up through with a pickup truckload of garbage or stuff that's going to blow out, they have to cover it. This is I don't know.
Can I ask you a question? Can you compel the businesses that receive trash to not accept trash uncovered?
Well,
Can you make that?
Casella, I have not witnessed the sign. I haven't physically seen it myself, but supposedly at Casella's, there is a sign that says, if you are not covered, you do not dump. I can tell you for free that sign means nothing, because I've witnessed, and a lot of it are the same people. It's not all of them, because there are some, I've witnessed some people that go in there several times a day that are covered. But there are some that go in there quite often. I've been doing this for a couple of weeks. This isn't something that I did a couple of days. Okay. I've had people say, what the hell are you doing sitting at the firehouse eating the lunch? Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm watching what's going on, because we had someone complain to us through an email, and he's right. It's disgusting.
Now, the email we got was about Church Street, correct?
Yes.
So, and that was somebody I had talked to years ago, and I didn't get back to him, and shame on me. But I did follow up with, at the time, but it was very specific to Church Street. It was, we reached an agreement with Casella to split the cost of some paving to cut down on the dust. We put up some signage, that was supposed to happen. So the last update I had was that we had agreed to that. This is broader, and I think very important. This is much broader.
Right.
Because now we're talking about 346, we're talking about Route 7. And I think all of that is very important and very valuable.
Right.
Yeah, it should be, yes, any town road, but I think the signage would be more important for the transfer station, for the, for Casella's, for the places where it's more likely to happen, 346 and 7.
Right. Okay, so we need to entertain a motion.
I think we need to get somebody on creating an ordinance, and then the motion would come with.
Okay.
Right. I think that we need to draft an ordinance, my opinion. I think we need to draft an ordinance in our next regular meeting on the 22nd.
Or can we say, I'm sorry, can we say it might be an ordinance, but is it our bylaws? Is it the ordinance? I mean, what is the appropriate, what is the,
ordinance, I think.
This
That
would be
way-
an
I think it might
ordinance,
be
That
though,
way it
yeah.
can be enforced by law enforcement.
And we don't have to contact DOT or anything, correct?
No.
Okay,
Oh, we
Also-
can put ordinances on our own town. I'm
Yep.
pretty sure. I'll check with Joel tomorrow
What would you
about
call
this.
it, a littering ordinance? Is that what it'd be?
Yeah. We,
well, that's what,
Like, we
I'm
can see if the
thinking we need
VLCT
to,
has something, is what I'm
Exactly,
asking, if
yeah.
we can
we can
find
go
a
out and
template.
see what is the appropriate
What
ordinance to
other
put
towns
this
do.
in, and what is, and what model policies are there?
right, and I
And then
also,
we can build on that.
I also believe personally that the fines need to be pretty rugged. I don't think it needs to be a $25 fine when you come through uncovered. It's
Oh,
because,
that's true too, and that'll be the specifics of it. Once that ordinance gets drafted, then we'll be in here talking about what the fine ought to be. And, you know, whether it's a monetary fine or an appendage.
yeah. Firstborn. No, I think it needs to be, because look, if you find somebody $25 every time they come through, they're gonna keep coming through with their load uncovered. If you find them $250 when they come through uncovered, and then they come through again, now they're up to $500. And I think we need to tell our sheriff's department when they're under contract, that's what they need to do. Look we want you down there.
right.
We want this taken care of, because I was sitting in Stewart's one morning and I watched a truck come out of Williamstown uncovered, came out of Williamstown uncovered, loaded with clear garbage bags. I don't even know, they're 40 gallons or whatever the size they are. And he was loaded right over the top. I left Stewart's 10 minutes later, and right by Jelly's Auto,
Mhm.
just north of Gary's, there's one of those bags in the road. And then I pass him headed south. I know where he went. He went to the transfer station, and he drove by the bag that he dumped,
And it's still sitting there.
and it still sat there.
It's still sitting there.
He drove by it. That pissed me off.
Yep.
Sorry.
It's true.
It is.
Every
So-
day I go by and every day I want to stop and pick it up, but I'm afraid that I'll get run over.
So I think we just need to draft something. I think we need to come up with some pretty rugged fines. And I've always been against our local guys. Sorry, I'm being long-winded here, but this really gets under my skin.
But I think the local guys will
The
appreciate
local
it.
guys are telling me we're covered anyway.
Right,
We're coming out of Bennington when we go to Peckham's and get a load, or we're drawing into Mass. We're covered anyway.
right.
It's not going to hurt those guys.
No,
It's
And-
it's not that much of a pain for them.
no. They're gonna respect it and
Right.
take care of it.
They're mad.
Yeah.
It's their town. They're mad.
I
So
agree.
We're all on the same page.
Okay. Anything else on that? Anybody want to add?
Are you assigning some work to people? Sounds like there's some tasks.
I'll work with whoever wants to, and this, whether it's Tim and Megan.
I think
I think-
Megan would be good for this. Sorry, Megan. Because she is working with you, where this is, we're gonna get into this with the zoning as
Right,
well, and the
right,
DRB and the
right,
bylaws. I think it's really related to that, and Megan's really good at researching. I advocate for her to give. this
And
to her.
I'll work with her, specifically on this, because it's kind of my pet project right now.
Okay.
Okay.
One of them. I get a couple, but that's one of them.
All right. Sounds good. So hopefully at our next meeting, we'll have something.
We
drawn up.
will have one at the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
We will.
All right.
Whether we
It's
approve it or
all
not, I don't know, but.
Since we're on the garbage thing, I got another question. I don't get much information, but I got information that on the trail along the river, there's a garbage barrel down there. For what? Why would anybody put out a garbage barrel?
Oh, I
The
have something to
state
say
put
about
them
this.
out. And what happens? You got a dumpster load there when they put a barrel out. It shouldn't be no good. You know, if you're gonna walk that trail, if you got a soda with you or a sandwich,
Take
Take
it
it.
with you.
take it with you, put it in your
Right.
knapsack.
Right, so I actually would like to speak about that. if
And the
they-
reason that I said that
Yeah.
was because the barrel that was put in there full, and well, the lowest service guy down the sewer plant got elected to peel the bag back, and there was a deer carcass in there.
That's right.
Oh, my God.
you
No.
know? I mean, come on. But if that barrel wasn't there, that encourages people, oh, I can dump my trash down there.
That's
That's
good
true,
point.
because we have garbage
Yeah.
cans at Stewart's and people dump their household garbage in. it
That's
all
right.
Me
the
too.
time.
I do that all the time.
I clean my truck out.
That's
That's
talking
right.
about the one at the Strober department. I was gonna
So-
say, somebody had already picked it up before I got there. But
So
I
you
went
went down,
down.
because I sent it to you guys, right?
Yeah.
From Darcy. Okay, so I do want to talk about that actually. This is, and Darcy and I had a couple emails back and forth. I sent you guys part of it. Is that trail was established, and then I guess by the former recreation task force that was not Parks, it's not our committee. It was not Parks and Rec. It wasn't part of government. And Darcy had said, yes, well, there was promise that they would maintain this trail. And so she wrote to me saying, so Parks and Rec is supposed to be maintaining this. I said, no, we're not. That's not us. That's not our, and so you guys need to have a conversation at some point about what you want to do with that trail. And I, like, for instance, getting rid of a trash can. Who's managing that? There's no one to maintain that. And that task force doesn't exist anymore. Those volunteers don't exist anymore. So now it's something that's sitting there and there's no one in charge of it. And
So is the garbage can still there?
I
It's
believe
fixed.
so.
It's
Yeah.
fixed next to the flagpole.
As far as I know, they're still on the trail down there, garbage can. Cause they were, well, they called them and asked them to clean it down the sewer department there, and they said, no. They called the road boss. And he says, call Parks and Recreation, they're involved with that.
I'm
I work
"That's
on the
not us."
highway.
No.
So I think the point there is if it's municipal property, it's got to be municipally maintained. This speaks directly to the problem of turning over the scheduling, the cleanup, whatever it is, municipal resources to private groups or private entities. We need to be very careful with that.
Right,
I
the
agree.
private entity doesn't exist anymore, and so now there's no one.
But
So
then
I'm
it becomes a
wondering if we
town
should
burden.
have it removed. Because there's nobody that's
I
willing to,
think so.
I think we should have the can removed.
Then let's send somebody down and remove it if we're not gonna take care of it,
Right.
right?
Well,
Right.
who's gonna take care of it? Who do we
No,
have?
that's right.
Yeah.
I don't-
Nobody take care of it.
Nobody empties it, right?
No.
So
No.
it doesn't get emptied, it's there attracting trash, and,
Right.
and really, we ought to have a sign that says, if you bring it in, or take it out.
What
Right.
I'm saying, somebody, I think, unless I'm in a different spot, I walked Strobridge Park and then down, and I did the riverbank, all the way back up toward the sewer treatment plant, and it had been removed, because the day we got the email, I come in and
Maybe they
asked,
took the whole thing.
and,
Okay.
it was in question at that point, around lunchtime when I stopped in, and, so I said, I'll stop back and I'll go down myself and see what I can find. And I didn't find any remnants because you'd smell a carcass.
Okay.
Let's send somebody down and remove the garbage can.
Right. Make sure, if there
Make
is
sure
one
it's
down
gone,
there.
right.
All right. I will call. Thank you. We need a more advanced speaker here. I will call Joel tomorrow and talk to him about it,
Oh, thank you.
removing the garbage can, if it's still there. Okay, anything else on that?
You may want to invest in some signs saying, you bring it in, you bring it out.
Okay,
It's a perfect spot for one of our litter signs.
absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, I will call Joel tomorrow. All right, board appointment interviews.
That's me again.
That's you again, Mike.
I'm the lucky guy tonight. So I know we have a bunch of board appointments, DRB, planning commission, whatever else is out there, for our next meeting. And I know we have some interested candidates that have already filed and sent us in, some letters of intent. So I've been giving this some thought for a little while. And I think we need, instead of like last year, which I was new on the board, we just took whoever sent us, for the most part, a letter of intent to be on a board. And I think we're doing the town a disservice without interviewing the interested party. I'm not exactly a fond person of just filling a seat with a warm body. I think we need to have people, when they get onto a board, no matter what it is, if they're applying for it, they have an interest, they should know what's going on. But I think we need to interview the people before we just appoint them to a board. Because if you have a 7-person board, and if you only have 5 people that want to serve on that board, or if you only can come up with 5 qualified, what we consider to be a qualified person, I'm fine with that. I don't need the other 2 people if they're not going to be a participating person who's going to bring something to that board that's positive or a good idea, or I just don't need to fill a seat. That's my opinion. And I think we need to interview, and I think we need to be pretty.
Are you asking for, like, are you suggesting that you want people to come to the meeting for appointments or make sure they're at least here on the Zoom instead of just being appointed? So you can
No,
ask questions? Or
no.
you mean a whole formal interview? process?
I'm saying that for, let's say we have 3, because I think there's 3 on the DRB. Am I right? I'm pretty sure there's 3 open spots on the DRB. So I'm thinking that like when I became zoning administrator, the they did an interview process. So I'm thinking on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night or whatever, we bring in 4 people who are, let's say we have 4. I don't know. I'm just throwing hypothetical numbers out there. Okay. We have 4 candidates for the DRB. Well, no, let me go back. Let's say we only have 3 candidates for the DRB. Okay. And we have 3 open positions. One of those candidates is totally off the wall, really, for development review board. Maybe they're better on an economic board or something like that. I just think we're doing a disservice by filling a seat with a warm body. And I think if we had 3 candidates for DRB and there's 3 openings for DRB, and only 2 of them are what the board feels are qualified for that, then we go with that. That's my opinion. I think we're just doing a huge disservice.
I think, in my opinion, I don't believe that we've filled any, I don't believe anybody on our boards or commissions at this point has been a warm seat. And I think we need to be, and I'm not disagreeing that we need to get qualified people, but I want to be very careful about what we define as a qualified person. We don't want to shut people out because they're not as articulate as somebody else, but their ideas can be just as sound. And so I don't want it to become sort of a, if you have somebody who can write a speech for you or make a statement for you, and you're going to do better in the interview, we run the risk. I'm not disagreeing,
No, I understand.
but we
Bob.
need
I'm
to
listening.
be. I'm not disagreeing, but we as a board need to be very cognizant of some people do not express themselves well, but they have really good ideas, and we need to make sure that our town is represented. All the diverse opinions, the ideological diversity of our town is well represented on all of our boards and commissions. We need to have boards and commissions that disagree with each other. If it's all like-minded people, then you're leaving a whole section of your town unrepresented in their government. So we need to be very careful of that.
And I agree with that 100%. And I really and truly do. And I think that's where the board, us as a board, can, because we don't all agree. We don't all agree all the time. Ronnie and I disagree all the time. But that's where we as a board can bring a person in for an interview and say, and Ronnie and I totally disagree on interview number 1, but then, I'm pro interview 1, Ronnie's negative interview 1. It's my duty to sell him, and I'm not throwing you under the bus, Ronnie. I'm just using an example because you're sitting next to me. It's my duty to sell him on that person, and reason why.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd like to say that, these jobs, first of all, they don't pay nothing. And some of these people, I think, actually want to know, and they're not all experienced in this stuff. They're not government people. A lot of them, well, they worked their whole life, but they figure they could do something for the town. And I think the board themselves, the DRB, you get somebody on there, they got a chairman, they got a half a dozen people, 6, 7 people. If that person, doesn't show up, doesn't meet the criteria, let the board decide. I don't think the selectmen, I kind of agree with Bob there. I know a lady who used to come to a lot of meetings. She couldn't express herself for nothing, but she had a lot of good valid points. But she got somebody to write a letter for her, that explained it pretty good, and she was sharp. But she would have never got put on anything. So, I mean, I think we're a little too, first of all, I mean, I don't know how many candidates we're gonna have, and I sure as heck wouldn't come in. I was on the planning board once because they couldn't fill the seat. They needed a warm body. So I said, I'll go there. What the hell?
Well, I think,
But it wasn't because I was gonna, but I also think that these people, most of these people, well, any of these things I looked at, they're all townspeople.
I'm not
They've been in the town
criticizing
for a while.
anybody I'm not criticizing anybody, Ronnie, that's already applied for a position, not at all. But I think we all can agree that we're in a position now where we fill the seat with a warm body and it's not really benefiting us,
I don't-
benefiting the town.
Well, I'm not so sure. I haven't seen anybody try to sue us on the DRB things.
I'm just
They're
using those as
planning.
examples. I'm-
Planning, I mean, come on, planning, all that is a vision. That's what I kept hearing from the chairman and the vice chair at the time I was on. It's just a vision, it's just a vision. You know, I mean, I thought it was more than that. I thought we were actually making
Sure.
a plan.
Can I make a suggestion maybe?
Yes, you
I
could.
think, thank you. I think that there are probably some positions that might require interviews, such as internal auditors. Because it's a
Absolutely.
highly skilled, requires a certain thing, and maybe more the ones, maybe the other ones, which are, I know a lot of people cut their teeth on planning commission. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like people have asked, oh, where can I serve? And I often say planning commission's a great place to start because you really learn about all the different aspects of the town and vision of the town, like you said. I don't know, maybe that's a compromise that I just wanted to throw out there between you guys, that maybe there are some that you want to do interviews for and maybe some you don't. I don't know. DRB could be specialized.
On the planning board, they've had numerous times where they have somebody who is a professional planner. That comes down and explains these things, to tell you why you can do this. And the board, like, well, you can only go this far into the woods or this high or what have you. And that promotes discussion, but that's why we need a good cross section of people so that somebody will ask this question, not just go with whatever, they get us, well, somebody wants to sell some property or buy some property, and it advantages to them for that.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this one. So I think if we're gonna say that we want to have all voting members on all of our boards, and that's what I think that's what I'm hearing, is that the DRB or planning commission or whatever, then I think because select board members can only be ex officio members, they can't vote. So they're taking up a board position and they have no voting power whatsoever. So if you need a quorum of 5 and there's 4 board members and 1 select board member, they can't do anything.
That's a true statement.
True statement.
They can't do a single thing.
That's a true statement. The quorum is not
The quorum is
a
not there.
majority. It's the majority of the number of
Voting members.
But they do have a chance to express an opinion, and the other people are there. So if they do have a quorum of 5 or 6 people,
Well, but I
you
also,
get a chance to speak if you want to. A
Well-
person wants to be in that position. I'm not arguing one way or the other.
No,
The only
I
thing
know,
I'm
but-
arguing is, I think we're being pretty specific and being, I don't know.
I think we
Lord
need to be
knows everybody.
specific. I think we need to start coming up to speed with how we
You've been on the school
operate.
working with
I'm
the
not-
school board too long.
No, I
Take
haven't.
that.
No, I haven't. I was off school board for a long time and I fought them tooth and nail too, Angie will tell you that.
I'm not against, and to be clear, I'm not against having conversations with I'm not against having the conversations with the individuals that put in.
Right.
But we as the board have to be very, like, one thing if somebody puts in for planning commission and you've got a stack of 5 and we've only got 3 open positions and 3 of them are Ivy League grads, that doesn't mean the Ivy League grad gets the position. You need to make sure that the ideological diversity exists, and we as a board have an obligation to make sure that our citizens are well represented. And that also doesn't mean that they have the best ideas. And I'm not knocking Ivy League. I'm just making it as an example. Well, because now I don't want to create a situation where where the strategy to overtake a board is clear and that's the strategy that some will
That's
use.
not the strategy I'm trying to, let me give you a perfect
No,
example.
no,
Bob.
I said that as an unintended consequence,
yeah.
but
Right.
the motivation for doing it is to make sure that we have qualified people. I think we both agree with that. And so
Well, the other thing
we
is,
just need
last
to be
year,
careful of how we go about it.
right, last year, we voted as a board, and I'm pretty sure it was on the DRB where we voted as a board, and a couple of board members had no clue who a couple of the people were. We had no clue who some of the people who put a letter of intent in to be on a board last year. Nobody even knew who they were on the board, or a couple of board members. I shouldn't say nobody, but a couple of board members didn't even know who the person was. Had no idea. And I think that's doing a disservice. I think that's doing a disservice to that person. There's a couple of people here. I don't know who they are. Have a great resume. I don't know. I wouldn't know them if they came in Stewart's tomorrow morning, had a coffee, sat down beside me. Wouldn't have a clue who they are. I just don't think that's right. I literally don't think that's the right way to be doing things.
So what about somewhere in the middle? And I think.
Well, yeah, I think that's why we're having a discussion.
And that's why I called it, not against having a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it an interview because I don't want people thinking that the threshold to serve on our planning commission, our DRB, or any of our other boards, commissions, rec committee, or anything else is going to be, you're not going to put them through the ringer to get there, but we have to know who they are.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what you're saying.
Yeah. No,
So-
exactly.
So I think if we did something like, we need to have a conversation, we need to know
You
something
can
about
call
the
it a meet and greet
individual.
for all you want. I don't care.
All right.
Whatever.
If people
but
want to be
seriously.
appointed, they have to come to the meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
but I mean,
that would be good. That would be good too.
Or, you know, it would be nice to have a little bit of an idea of where they're coming from, you know, what their
But if they
background.
all come to the meeting where the appointments happen, then that conversation can happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I agree with that. If anybody.
I don't
that
mean in the
wants-
building, I mean on Zoom, you
on
know? and-
Zoom. And then we can ask like that person a question if we have a question.
You know, I don't know. I think if you ask them ahead of time, it gives us a chance to, you know, the board gives us a chance, a little bit of an idea.
You would have to warn that meeting. If you wanted to do something like
That's
a
fine.
meet and greet, you'd have to warn it, it'd have to be done in the public's eye. So it's
Yeah.
still having that conversation, just so you know, it's still
Yeah.
having that conversation
Right.
in,
Special-
The fishbowl.
special
Right. No, that's fine.
meeting for,
That's totally fine with me. I
appointment.
just think, you know, having just a little
We
bit
can
of, hey,
separate it.
why do you want to be on the DRB board?
Right.
Yeah,
Or planning
simple-
commission or.
Simple introduction questions and why do you want to
And
do
they
this
all need to
and
be
what is your
asked the
interest?
same question.
Well, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just think, no, for sure they have to be asked the same question. And we don't have to call it an interview. We can call it whatever we want. And it's,
How
it
about a
doesn't,
meet and greet?
Call it the meet and greet.
and I don't want to be as
And then
intense
make
as
your
we
appointments
were
at the next one.
with our executive and administrative assistant. I don't want to be as intense as we were there. That's not my goal.
Right. It's a whole different
You know,
process.
that's a whole different thing. I think that, you know, just who's Bob Jarvis? I don't
Yeah.
know, you know, or you know what I'm saying?
No, a
It's
meet
just-
and greet would be awesome because I know personally, I don't know 2 people on this,
that's what I'm saying. How can you vote for them?
other than that
Because what happens is, don't tell me it doesn't happen, is, and I'll use you for an example, Gene. You know 3 people, let's say you know 3 people that are for the DRB, but you don't know the other 2, so you're gonna vote for 3 and 0. When 2 of them could be way better than whatever, I'm just saying.
So let's set up a
Okay,
meet
would
and
you
greet.
like, let's set up, I can help, me and Megan will set up a meet and greet.
Yes.
Would you like to do it the Tuesday, the 20th?
Yes.
Okay, so Tuesday, the 20th, I will make sure that everyone who's asked, sent in a letter of intent is invited to that, has a Zoom link, we'll post it like a regular meeting. And, should I let them know that if they would like to be considered for appointment, that they need to come to that? Or if they're unable to, let us know and we'll, you know, maybe the chair could speak to someone or.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's fair. I think
Okay,
Angie could
Tuesday
ask
the
them if they can't
20th.
come, because it's kind of, you know, people have
7
lives.
PM,
I,
online
like
meet
Ronnie
and
said.
greet. Got it.
Yeah.
Done. I will send since it's your idea, I will send the language to you for approval before I warn it. Is that good?
Yeah, fine.
All right. Is that
Perfect.
for
That's
everyone
fine.
else?
Yep.
Well, I asked you last year about one person, he was a guy, and I did.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Let's move on.
Is that
please.
Wow,
language
we
gonna
had
be the
here one
questions as
person.
well?
No, but if you'd like, I can circulate that. and You guys can give suggestions
must
and
be
I'll put them
100 years
together on
old.
paper.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not setting too
high-
high of a
yeah, I
threshold,
understand.
because that really.
Do you-
that-
Yeah,
Well,
you and I are spoiled. We know everybody.
Can I ask that question now then? Angie needs a candy. Let me ask this question now then. Would you like me to craft 4 to 5 questions, general questions? So
Yes,
that way it's
please.
just, and they'll be prepared as to what they are. And, okay, great. No
I think
problem.
that's a good, and could,
I'm gonna make them very general.
No,
Very
I
general,
was going
like,
to
why do you
ask
want to
it-
be on such and such board? What do you think you can bring to that board?
Yeah, right.
and
Simple
forward
question.
to all of us. I think you were gonna do that.
And just
anyway.
tell us a little something about yourself.
Okay. Great.
Because we don't want them here for hours and hours. We just want to meet
Yep.
them,
Got it.
see
Done.
what they're all about. Okay, moving on, please. Building permit changes, updating zoning permit application, adding Megan Albert to the permit process, and we need to set 2 dates for zoning bylaws.
Again, that's me.
Yeah.
When are you guys gonna put something on here? Just kidding. So our bylaw or not bylaw application, our zoning permit application, sorry, I was reading ahead of myself. Our zoning permit application, and it's mostly the fee schedule on there that I find is really kind of outdated. It's not so much our application itself, but our zoning fees. And so the question you asked Jim Sullivan seems like it changes bylaws more than it does.
Yeah, I can explain what Jim Sullivan
Right.
said once you introduce what you
Right.
want to do.
So I want to update our zoning permit application because, for example, right now, when I send something as the zoning administrator to the DRB for a public hearing, we don't cover the cost of that public hearing. That public hearing costs the town of Pownal money. By the time we pay,
In the minutes, and
Th-
the
th-
agenda. the
that's
warning,
right.
and the
we
the,
legal
already
by the
notice.
pay
time,
her
by the time we pay, for the warning, because it has to be warned, by the time we pay the DRB, administrative assistant to do the warning and pay her for her minutes and all of that, we lose money. And I don't think we can continue to, I don't think we should continue to lose money. I think it's time to, and Megan and I have been working on this week, actually, changing the fees. And that's basically the biggest change, right, Megan? That's pretty much the biggest change that we've made this week, correct?
Yes, that's
The fee schedule. And I also think that, fee schedule needs to be more, right, because right now for let's say a person who's putting up a 24 by 24 garage right now pays $58. And a person that puts on a 2,500 square foot addition on their house pays $58. I don't think that's a fair and equitable schedule. So Megan, and we didn't go crazy with it. We just kind of brought it, in my opinion, we went to a couple of different surrounding towns and kind of comparatively brought it in a little more into perspective, I guess is the best way to put it. So because she is the DRB and Planning Commission administrative assistant, I brought her in on this with me and we worked on it together. I don't, whatever, one day this week, I don't remember. Put it together. So I just think we need to get more up to speed on that. At least where we're covering our costs.
Absolutely.
I'm not,
So I can
How
explain.
about You
yeah.
gave an example, of a garage and an addition. Doesn't it go on how much the thing would cost?
not at all,
approximately?
not at all, Ronnie.
Well, what does it go on if you got $58?
It's flat
for
fees.
$2
It's a
garage and you
flat
got a
fee.
house?
It's a flat fee.
So are you proposing?
So my
to change
proposal,
it to
yes,
fee?
my proposal is on, let's say on all new houses, for example, on all new houses. It's on a square foot basis. So somebody building a 3,500 square foot house, and I don't remember the fees off the top of my head because we're just working on this.
Yeah.
Okay, it's so much per square foot with a maximum. There's a maximum on it as well. But the person building a 3,500 square foot house doesn't pay the same as a person building an 800 square foot house.
That makes sense.
Okay, the fee schedule
The state does
is,
it.
the fee schedule is driven accordingly to square footage. And I didn't go we adjusted, like I said, we went, Shasberry's one of the towns that we use. We went to their zoning permit application and we adjusted because I don't think that we're exactly a comparative town totally as Shasberry, with our population. So, the means of the population. So I did adjust it to what I felt was a little more fair. And that's pretty much the only change. Our subdivisions all stayed the same. All the requirements stayed the same. The timing all stayed the same. Still need a wastewater permit and the all of that stuff still is in there because they have to have that for the state anyway. So the biggest change that we came up with really was fee schedules to try to get them more in line, to be fair, Ronnie, exactly, to be fair. A person that puts up a person can put up a 50 by 100 foot barn right now and pay $58, and a person can put up a 200 square foot shed because 144 square feet is the minimum. As it stands, it's going to change a little bit with the new bylaws, but that person pays $58. So I'm just trying to be a little more.
This is another question that popped into my shallow brain when you were yakking.
I get long-winded.
You had a maximum.
Mhm.
See, I don't believe in maximums. They had a maximum like before. You had so many acres of land up to so much. It costs you this much. But if you own another 150, well, it costs less per acre. The land is still worth the money.
No, I agree.
Same thing like with a house. If you want to build a house and it's got 8,000 square feet, and somebody builds one that's got 3,500, there shouldn't be a cutoff at say 5,000. You should pay on the whole
Actually-
thing. You know what? I want to do like this, like the state, the school. They want to look at your income tax. You can pay it.
Just like you're
that's
getting-
how they're gonna do this.
Just
Did
like
you
you're
read
getting
the
a
paper
car.
this
Yeah,
week?
yeah, just like you're getting a car.
That's right.
Yeah.
You read the
I-
paper. That's
Megan-
what they want to do.
Megan, do you remember when we did the maximum? Wasn't there a thing after so many square feet, it did go up another $50 or something like that?
Yes, I believe that's what it says.
I think there was a maximum, but then it did go up a little bit, Ronnie, after, so that like you said, if somebody's building an 8,000 square foot house, they still would end up paying more. So I guess there really probably is no maximum, but I did kind of, for our general
I'm
intent.
just
there was.
curious because everything else, it
No.
seems like, the more money you got,
Yeah,
but they stop charging you after you get up to a certain amount. They figure this guy's got $1 million. You can't afford all that. So
Well,
I'm fine with that.
well, the other side of it is that what we ought to be trying to do here is to cover our costs, not
That's it.
not turn a profit, right?
Right,
And that's all. That's what we need to be doing.
right.
The other thing is you don't want to disincentivize people from building because that's also our tax base.
Well, and
So,
that's why, Bob, honestly, that's why I didn't go with the same fee schedule that the other towns were using. I did cut it quite a bit from what some of the other towns are using around us. I think it's a fair, I think if I remember right, and it's still a work in progress, so that's why we don't have anything right now. I think like an average 1,500 square foot house right now costs, by the time they do all of their permitting and their sewer and whatever else, was like I think it's like $140.
that's to the person doing the building.
That's
Those are the fees for the person who's looking for the permit.
That's right. That's the permit fee is right somewhere around there, by the time they do everything. And I think we might have gone to like $200 or 175 or something for that particular house.
Do we know what it costs the town? What does it cost us to process this all the way through? And does it really cost us more for an 8,000 square foot house than it does for 150
It takes more time to process the permit. But it really doesn't cost a lot more per permit probably. Where we're definitely losing on our legal. Anywhere we have to process a permit legally through the DRB or whatever, we are losing our shirt every time.
It's
But
like
now,
$170 to put it in the paper.
And we
alone.
only charge
That's a-
$158 for the permit.
right, so that, and that's kind of my question is what does it
And then plus
cost the
Megan's time.
town to do? So what does it cost the town to process one of
Probably
these?
easily 250 is my guess.
So then that's what the permit should be, as far as I'm concerned. It
Well,
should
but
cover our
but it
costs.
doesn't, every permit doesn't cost $250 to process.
Right.
Only when
Okay.
it goes to the DRB where it has to be legally warned.
Right,
If it's just a you sign off, then it's just, it's
right.
your time, right?
What causes it? I think
Ones
this,
that require site plans are far more expensive than ones that are just a sign off by him.
Because when it has to go to the DRB, there's a whole process. It has to be warned, it can't be warned. It has to be warned 15 days from the time of the public hearing. There has to be a public hearing held. There could be more than one public hearing held. If it's a major subdivision, then there's multiple public hearings potentially,
And more warnings.
and more
potentially.
warnings, and more.
which is a little different than building a house.
Plus,
Right.
you're
Mhm.
posted
Or a-
for, because you gotta notify all the neighbors. I mean, it's.
Well,
It-
you know,
it turns
I
into a
really wasn't
larger
looking for
beast.
the itemized, you know,
Right.
but what does the total thing cost?
Right.
And I guess there is no answer to that, because if it has
little
to be
different every
warned,
time.
it's a
I went with,
different situation.
I-
But there has to be buckets, right? There has to
Right.
be, here's a
Yes,
flow
require a
chart.
site plan.
Does
Site
it
plan is
require a
makes-
site plan? Yes. Does it
Yes.
require a site plan? No. And
So-
what are the good criteria? And those should be different fees.
there's different fees. We didn't change a DRB hearing totally. We went from $158, I think, to $250, which is gonna cover our cost
Mhm.
for that DRB hearing, barely, but it does cover, it covers our cost. And then there are different fees if it requires some different, more things that we did increase. There's some addendums in there, you know, every time we have to do an adjustment, it's $50 or something like that. I can't remember exactly because there was a lot of numbers that we were working with.
So do you
couple
need
days.
the board's approval for this?
Bring it to the next meeting.
I was gonna
I'll
say-
bring it to the
I
next
was gonna say,
meeting.
bring it to the next
Right,
meeting with
and I
everything
don't,
all filled out.
Rebecca's gonna talk about, she reached out to Jim Sullivan today, because the planning commission, and I believe it's only if the bylaws.
I'll explain it. Yeah.
Right, but if we just change the fee schedule on this and change our permit process a little bit, I don't think it has to go to the planning commission. We're the ultimate, we're the end of the road anyway, the select board.
So I can explain to you what Jim Sullivan told me. The select board has the sole authority to change fee structure. So that, if he comes to you with a new fee schedule, you have the authority to approve that. What you cannot change in the permitting process is like, you can't change a bylaw. You can't change what requires a site plan and what doesn't require a site plan,
Right.
things like that. But you absolutely can make changes in the processes that have to do with administration. So you can establish a process that says all of our permits go to Megan, then Megan creates a calendar, and then this is the new fee schedule, and you can even change your form. Like, those are all administrative things. You have the authority to change the administrative portions of it, but not any requirements.
Right, and
Obviously,
that-
that's
and
part
I'm
of the
not-
bylaws.
And I'm not asking to change any requirements.
Right.
I'm just asking
No, I
to
didn't
change the
think you
fees, right, I'm just asking to change fee schedules and a little bit of the process, because I do want Megan involved in the permitting process a little bit
It'll
more.
streamline it. like
It'll,
you streamline
exactly,
towns.
it'll streamline it. It'll streamline our permitting process. A permit's gonna come here, she's here more than I am. A permit's gonna come here, it's gonna come to Megan, she can email me right away or text me or whatever we have to. Hey, we got a permit right here, it's here, it's permit number. She can go with the sequential numbers because it came in today. It's permit number 21-0010, whatever it is. And then
We'll
that
put 'em
starts.
in our database.
And that starts the process that much better. So that's another thing. That's why Megan is in here. I do want to add her to that process. And I don't know if it needs board approval or not. I would assume it does because she's not.
I would assume that we need board approval once you have the proposal and have it structured, and then we come
Right,
in.
next
and-
week. You have a
Oh,
lot of
oh,
homework to do.
and
for
I'm
our next
fine.
meeting.
I'm fine with it.
and
This,
then,
this is already,
the only
this is
thing-
already done. Or, 90% of this is done
Okay,
with Megan and I. We worked on it pretty diligently a couple mornings ago.
okay.
We're in pretty good shape with this process. I
And
just
so
wanted
you
to bring
know-
it here
just so you know
tonight.
as well, that
Right.
that job, what they just did is originally Sid and I were going to, and Mike and I were gonna work on that when I was doing that position. And so this is something that's been talked about for a while, that the permit process is very clunky.
Mhm.
So it's, it was an agenda that's moved on from the last.
Okay,
I'm not trying to change everything, because I know you've already done a lot of work on it. I'm just trying to understand.
Sure.
The fee structure then is based on increasing fees. So, because it seems to me that, that how much it costs the town has everything to do with, does it require a site plan? Does it not require a site plan? And there's other decision criteria, I'm sure they're in there.
Well, and the other thing, Bob, is that absolutely increasing our fees now because in order to streamline this process, because if somebody, the way it was working pre-COVID is I worked in here on Wednesday nights, one night a week with the permit process. Okay. And now I because of COVID, I have them emailed to me. So adding Megan into this permit process is going to streamline it, but it also adds a cost because we have to pay for Megan's time. Okay.
She's processing your permits anyway.
Right, but she's,
Right.
you know, so I want to cover that cost there too. So by but if some, like there's a couple of permits here that I saw that weren't here at yesterday when I was in here. They weren't here yesterday. They got dropped off sometime between yesterday and today. Now with Megan being in here more than I come in and out, she can start that process the second they come in or the next morning or whatever it is and start that permit process rather than sit here for 5 days and then we fall behind and then people are wondering where their permits are because it's virtually, you know, I mean, it's not a full-time position for me to come in and file process.
Right, right.
file
And
the
but that's
permit.
more of a workflow than it is a fee structure, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we got.
It's administrative changes. That's what
Yeah.
Jim Sullivan was talking about, like changing the process of how you receive the permits, who's
Right.
taking charge of them, who's making sure they're filed, the calendar of setting up the, you know, I don't know. That's what we had always talked about prior to Megan coming on board.
Okay,
All right, it's a little bit, I mean, it is out of my wheelhouse, but
When you
just
see the
generally
fee
speaking.
schedule, I think you'll be
Yeah,
happy
I
with
think
it,
we'll
Bob.
be-
I don't, because I'm not saying it's gonna cost $10,000 for a building permit for a 3,500 square foot house. I think it might be $200 or something like that. I mean, you know, it's not crazy.
No, I was just, where I was leaning was, the costs aren't necessarily driven by the cost of the building or the structure or the square footage. It's driven more by decisions like,
Site plan.
does it require a site plan? Does
Right.
it require this? Does it
Or
require
a site
that?
visit,
Yeah, and
which-
so,
which I've done a number of site visits. I don't charge mileage. I could, I just don't. I just do it. I just go do it.
okay.
Well,
So
it has
that's,
to be based on something. So I mean,
Right.
if you're not doing it on square footage or whatever, it seems to me that if it goes to DRB, if you've got to put it in the newspaper, if you've got to have a lawyer look at it, or if you got to do this, you ought to know about what that costs.
and that's the point I was making is that,
Well,
That's the thing that I'm looking at. Now, if that costs you, $150, well, you can't give them a permit for $58.
Right.
You got to bump it up to a couple of $100 to cover,
That's what I'm trying to do.
postage and
Ryan.
other stuff around there too.
And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to cover the cost. I'm not trying to make any money.
Because I
I'm trying to
know-
deter anybody from building. I mean, I want new houses in town and stuff, so I'm not trying to deter anybody whatsoever.
The only reason I say that is because I'm familiar with tax sales and stuff. And that's how they work. You bid on the property, that's what the cost of the property is. But then you're gonna pay for the advertising fee, you're gonna pay for the lawyer to handle it,
it's the
It isn't
actual
much.
cost.
but you're gonna get, these are all added into that cost.
On top of what you bid.
Well, you gotta pay that. one.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You gotta give the lawyer a check for that.
Right.
It'd be like the DRB, you gotta give them a check for it.
Mhm.
okay,
And you have some idea, and I mean, I think it should be close. I don't wanna fleece the people. I want people.
I don't
to
either.
have a-
I'm not
have a
trying to do
house.
that at all. I'm trying to be
But we
fair and
gotta have
equitable.
some kind of schedule that is, you can understand. Because how come it cost me 300? It only cost that guy $58. Well, there's a difference. You had to go to the DRB. The other guy, all he had to do was go to the zoning administrator.
I think when you see the fee schedule, you'll all
okay.
agree with it and
Okay.
I think you'll be fine with it. And I just
Or if
wanted
not,
to
it'll be
bring it-
easier to talk about.
Right.
You'll have it in front of
Right,
you.
you'll have it in front of you. We just didn't get time
Okay,
to draw up the schedule and, she's working on it and she's got it pretty much, we added a couple things today. So, but she's got it pretty much where we want it to be.
okay. Moving on to gravel crushing, please.
Oh, man, is that me again?
No, it isn't. You
Nah, that can be anybody.
can be anybody.
Got the
Where-
took the
I
lowest
can't find
bid.
mine though. Uh-oh.
I got it.
And
Here somewhere.
I'll do
Oh,
it
there it
again.
is on the bottom.
Joe got the lowest, took the lowest bid on.
Yeah, but
On the start with, and then, well, he asked me, so I'll let you people in on that. He asked me, he says, what do you think? I said, I can't see any problem with that, and another 1,000 yards, that's what he wants. We got the money in the budget for it. And gravel don't go away. People ain't stealing it. It don't go away.
Right, and we could
So-
probably be saving money.
It's gonna,
Eventually.
we're gonna get it done for so much, a yard to crush it. And we were gonna get, 5,000.
Right,
Now he'd like to bump it up another 1,000, or 6,000. We need the gravel. If we don't need it, even if we don't need it this year, we'll need it the following year.
right.
And it'll all be on site. So that's all there is to it. And the price is good.
And he's
So-
already talked about changing it to 10,000 yards every 2 years because of the moving fee of all the.
Right, it's gonna
equipment and
save on
stuff.
equipment
So-
moving fee, yep. So I,
I'm okay with it.
all right, so can I have a motion for him to,
I make a motion that we sign a contract for that extra 1,000 yards of gravel, make it 6,000.
can I have a second?
Second,
Any further discussion? Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, I. Moving on to road bridge update. We have paper in there.
Here it is, right here. You can read it. if you want.
Thank you.
It's very short.
Give her the mic.
They wanna increase, well, they gotta do more patch.
As you know, we commenced work on the Main Street Bridge. It's coming along pretty well, although we ran into more bad spots than anticipated. Some of the bottom concrete is pretty soft from water and salt getting underneath. We came across other spots that also should be addressed also. We had 8.2 square yards, more than originally thought. We bid it out for 65 square yards, and we would like to do 73.2 square yards. The additional 8.2 square yards will cost $6,494. If agreed, we will do a change order for the extra. Thank you for your consideration, Joel. Can I entertain a motion to add the additional 8.2 for the cost of $6,494 for the Main Street Bridge?
So move.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Angie, I. Oh,
Aye.
thank you, sorry. I'm starting to get tired, sorry. All right, that entertains everything except for public comment.
One with their hands raised, Megan?
Any hands raised, Megan? Please raise your hand if you have any public comment.
There's someone on a fire tablet.
Okay. The fire tablet, they can unmute themselves then and say their name.
Hello,
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Who is this?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, please identify
Hi.
yourself.
Hi, it's John Bashy. How
Hi,
you guys
John.
doing tonight?
Good, thank you.
I just wanted to make just two quick comments. Something I think thinking about after the discussion I just heard. One is on the permit process. I think on that, I think what I heard sounds good and everything. I just think probably should have some kind of like chain of custody. So when the permit process starts, that it starts with Megan, then it would go to zoning, and if it has to go to health officer or DRB or wherever, by the time it ends, there's a chain of custody showing where it was, how long it was at each person, just so I'll get a better idea of the process and where it's going to. That was one thing I thought of. That's something for you guys to think about. And then the other thing was on the interview process. I do agree with that interview process. The only downfall to that is I've been on both sides of that, and I sat at all the meetings during trying to get on different boards, showing my interest, trying to be on there and stuff like that. And it took many, many times, and the people that were getting voted in were not even showing up to meetings. Never even had a process, never were there, period. But still got voted in over top of somebody who was showing interest. So I think as a board, I think you should look at, just opinion on it anyway, should look at that closely to see if that person is there to try to help the town, or are they just throwing their name in there and gonna sit home and see what happens. That's happened to me quite a few times trying to get on the planning commission. And in other positions there in town. So that's just, a view that I had and just wanted to share that. I thank you and you guys have a great night.
Thank you very much. We'll take
Thanks,
that
John.
under consideration. Thank you. Is there anybody else out there, Megan?
Steve?
It's probably Donna.
Go ahead, Donna.
Hi,
we go.
it's Donna Lozon. Real quick, I just wanted to say thank you to the people of Pownal for all of their donations to the Pownal American Legion for our recent Easter egg hunt. I'm not sure if the board is aware, but we ended up with over 3,000 Easter eggs filled with candy for the children of the town of Pownal. And so we just wanted to say thank you for that. Thanks, everybody.
You're welcome, Donna. Glad you had a great turnout. Thank you. Is there anybody else? Jamie, do you have a comment?
Just more of an informational thing. The Bennington radio station reached out, and I guess other towns are doing time or something, so I told them, go ahead and put something together, what their thought process says on it, and whatever money that they're looking for to take and do something to bring it forward to the board.
What do you mean, like 15 minutes to talk about the news in Pownal, or?
I not clear about the whole thing. It's just
I'll do it.
they asked me, if something we might be interested. I said, put a proposal together. That way we can take a look at it as a board. So that's what I told them I'd bring it up during our comments. So.
All right. Is there anybody else out there? Any
Sorry.
comment?
You didn't want to talk about that, Rebecca, since you
I'll do it.
volunteered?
I'll do it. Oh, you have to pay for it? Oh, okay. I thought they were offering it to us. I was like, I'll talk.
There's a fee schedule.
Give me the time. I'll do it.
All right. Since there's nobody else out there asking any questions, can I have a motion to go into executive session, please?
Make a motion to move to executive session.
And will you be taking action?
So,
Second.
and to be clear, it's executive session for personnel.
Yes, personnel. I have to make a motion to come
Yeah,
out of
come
executive
out.
session.
But you can do that like this, right? Megan, if there's anyone there, you can let them in, right?
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion to come out of executive session.
Make a motion, we come out of executive session.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, aye.
We all set?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we move into an emergency meeting of the select board on April 8th at 9:02 PM.
Second it.
Bob,
I think that you should state the reason why
Oh,
it needs to
okay.
be an emergency meeting. You need to be very clear. Bob, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Information has come to the board during our executive session that we find places the town at some risk, and we need to take immediate action on it. And you'll hear the action here in a minute.
okay, motion on the table. Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, aye. So we're
Okay.
in emergency. So
So
go
you're
ahead.
in, okay, I'll make the motion that we approve the chair to send a letter to the health commissioner seeking immediate removal or removal of our health officer for cause. That's it.
Second that motion.
Any discussion? Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, aye.
Ask for public comment.
Any public comment, please? Please raise your hand. Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Ronnie,
Aye.
Angie, aye. Thank you, everybody. All have a good night.